Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we need to start it off here. This is Chris Giancarlo. This is from about a month ago, but what's important is what he says. Chris Giancarlo, remember, is the ex-CFTC chair. He also came to XRP Las Vegas last year, and he's coming again this year. So before I play the clip, I'll remind you, XRPLasVegas.com. There's still discount tickets and discount MGM room tickets, and they've added a couple of speakers in the last few days. Dr. Chris Brummer from Georgetown Law, Steve McClurg from Canary Capital. He's the one that filed the XRP, the Canary XRP ETF, filed for the XRP ETF. And then Austin King from Omni. He's the guy that sold his company to Ripple and then recently started making some pretty bullish tweets on XRP. He's coming too now. All right. Now, I want to go back to this. Listen to what Giancarlo says.
Paul Atkins tapped to be the crypto czar for the new administration. What does he bring to the table?
So I've known Paul since we were classmates at Vanderbilt Law School back in the early 1980s. Paul's a dear friend. He's a very serious thinker. Paul is at heart a free market, a libertarian. Paul believes we need to use our financial regulatory scheme to further capital formation. He wants to get down to the basics of the SEC's role to further more IPOs, more liquid markets, deep and liquid, and focus on how the SEC can facilitate innovations coming to market and raising capital. So I think we're going to see an explosion of American markets under the leadership of Paul Atkins at the Securities Exchange Commission. Day two is to deliver on some of Trump's digital asset promises, a strategic reserve, a crypto council, and perhaps a capital gains relief for digital asset transactions. Then
remember that part. We'll talk about that later.
Thirdly, to get to the actual policy making, we need to get FIT 21, that is Fit for the 21st Century Act, which was a law that passed the lower house, the House of Representatives, but not the Senate. We've got to get that passed. That will work out the differentiation between what is regulated by the CFTC, my former agency, and what is regulated by the SEC. And we've got to get stablecoin legislation done, and we've got to get good rules and regulations out of both agencies. If we get that, we'll have achieved some very good policy, I hope, for the rest of the 21st century, to allow the United States to truly become the digital asset capital of the world.
Folks, do you know what this means? I mean, of course it's bullish for digital assets, but it's also bullish for the IPO market. My sponsor, Link2, has, tons of, they sold out a Ripple private equity, I checked this morning, but they have things like Uphold, which I own. They have, and then they have all kinds of AI companies. This is the year, folks. This is the year of the crypto IPO. Write it down. You can go to linqto.com to check Link2 out for accredited investors. Now, the market has been just kind of holding strong. We're at 3.6 trillion. XRP's at $3.18. Bitcoin's at 103,000. So the market is just sitting here waiting because the market knows that Trump is about to start initiating some of these pro-crypto things like the council and executive orders and this type of stuff. And so the market, it's almost like it's too nervous to go down and too nervous to go up. But it's coming, folks. You can feel it. Now, this one right here is for those of you out there who who are young or too young to live through the dot-com boom and bust. This is why I came to this party to begin with, is because I was there when dot-com boomed and then busted, and I was a part of that. I got to see it firsthand. And so when I saw this come along, I immediately knew that this was the internet of value, whereas the internet boom was the internet of money. The major difference was back then in the internet of information, when we had the internet boom back in the 90s, in the internet of information, you could not invest in the actual protocols like the email TCP/IP or the HTTP. You couldn't actually invest in the protocols. If you wanted to make tons of money, you had to invest in the private equity associated with these internet startups, and not all of us could do that. That's what I saw this as being. This time, you would be able to not only invest in the private equity, but you could also invest in the protocols for the Internet of Value, the protocols themselves, like Bitcoin or XRP or all these others. And that is what I knew, even back to 2013, that was my first thought, was that that's what we were looking at. And so, but in this clip, Chris Giancarlo lays all that out. For those of you that still don't understand what we're on the precipice of, you need to listen to every word of this.
And what I would say in one sentence,
if I can get it to play,
is the internet doing to finance and banking and money itself what the internet has already done to communications, to information, to shopping, to transportation, to entertainment. What is that? It is moving things of value onto the internet in the same way the first wave of the internet moved information onto the internet. Okay. What crypto says is, in order to record value on the internet, we need a certain set of protocols. Just as when we went to record information, we came up with HTML, HTTP. Those are different protocols for organizing websites, for sending email.
Like .com, .org.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what crypto is basically systems for recording value in the internet. And what Bitcoin is, you hear these different names.
Folks, just imagine how much money it would be worth if during the Internet of Information, when it first started, if you could actually invest in the email protocol or in the HTTP protocol. What value would something like that have today? It would be insane. That's what the opportunity is.
Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, XRP. There are different protocols for recording value on the internet. And they all have different properties and they work in different ways.
Is it all worth the same?
Okay, now we're talking about the value proposition.
Let's not get there yet.
A couple more minutes. Okay. We are going to get to that, right?
Yeah.
But you're hitting the nail on the head. Because they all do different things, they all have different value propositions. Just as HTML does something very different than HTTP and .com and .org, they all have different significance on what's called the first wave of the Internet of Information. The first wave of the Internet was all about recording information, whether it's a website, whether it's an email, whether it's a text message, using this wonderful network called the Internet. It's a network of networks, okay? Now we're moving to the next phase of the Internet, an Internet where we're going beyond recording information, we're now recording value.
How?
In order to record value, we need different protocols. And we need different systems of organization. The first wave of the Internet of Information, was organized by volunteers.
Yes.
It was universities and others that wrote those initial protocols. It's very, it was a magical moment, or a decade in time, or decades in time. It was incredible. This time around, to organize people to record value, we've got to find a way to reward them. So there's a lot changed in Washington just in the last few weeks. Trump has come in on a very pro-crypto agenda. The big thing that's changed is 6 months to 9 months ago, a bank president would have been safe to tell you, we're not getting involved in crypto, it's too dangerous. That's completely reversed. Today, any traditional financial institution that doesn't have a crypto strategy is in threat of actually reputation risk because they're not looking forward. Elections have consequences. The dramatic consequence here is that traditional finance now is suddenly realizing. So in the last few weeks, I've met with the CEOs of some of New York's most prominent financial institutions. Every one of them says, I need a crypto strategy. There's reputation risk to their positions as CEO if their firms are not now forward-looking.
It's interesting.
It's important to note, when we had the internet boom, the government got out of the way. This time, the government thugs have spent the last 4 years trying to stop this because the banks were probably putting money in their pockets to get them to stop it. The government thugs are gone, and elections do have consequences. And you're talking about a market being a coiled up spring. No digital asset, none more than XRP has been attempted to stop. Not one on the planet. It was targeted more than any digital asset on the planet. That's why XRP has a more of a coiled spring than any digital asset on the planet, and maybe any financial asset on the planet. There's no better place I'd rather be financially than owning XRP right now. Now, check this out. Donald Trump has just released Ross Ulbricht. Now remember, Ross Ulbricht ran Silk Road. Silk Road was buying drugs, and it allowed people to buy drugs, ammo, all kinds of dark market type things with Bitcoin. But the problem with what they did to this guy, and remember, when in the investigation of Silk Road, there's no question that Ross Ulbricht would have gained there were all kinds of things going on. There were shady FBI agents that were padding their pockets with the Bitcoin. You can go back and watch Katie Hawn videos. She was like an assistant U.S. attorney at the time in charge of investigating it. And she talks about how when they started tracking everything going on, they found out that 2 of their FBI agents were making themselves millionaires by sending the Bitcoin that was being confiscated into their own wallets. These people went to jail. Ross Ulbricht, they charged with like 2 life sentences for running a website, a nefarious website. It was obviously overkill, and I've always thought the reason they did it was because he knew where the government bodies were buried. And I believe, to this day, I believe that. Look what Trump said here. The scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics who were involved in modern day weaponization of government against me. And so and by the way, here's a picture of Ross Ulbricht coming out of prison. And I retweeted Donald Trump's tweet, and I said, I'm guessing it's the same scum that threw Stephen Neri off in a van and demanded he give up information on crypto leaders. You remember that from the Rigged from the Start movie. Stephen Nerioff got thrown in an FBI van. They put a list of really high up crypto pundits on the list and said, we want you to give us all the dirt that you have on these people. They were targeting all of the OG type crypto people, and he somehow he had recorded everything that had happened, and they were falsely accusing him, and they didn't realize he had video recordings of the meetings where they were accusing him of things like embezzlement and all this stuff. And he was able to prove with video that they made it up. They literally made things up on him. And I have a feeling that's what went on here too. Now, folks, my son, he wanted to play in the snow yesterday. Otherwise, I would get him to draw you a picture yesterday. But what more do you need to see? Brad Garlinghouse still riding high from all the inauguration events in D.C. this weekend. From the crypto ball to VP dinner to POTUS dinner to sitting in the Capitol yesterday to watch the inauguration. There's palpable excitement for all the good that's possible leveraging crypto and blockchain here in the U.S. finally and globally. Congrats, J.D. Vance, real Donald Trump. And then Stuart Alderati tweets out to let you know he was there too. Couldn't have said it better than Brad Garlinghouse. This administration understands our industry and the law. So refreshing. Now check this out. Stuart Alderati, remember, the Gary Gensler's gone. Mark Uyeda is now the acting SEC chairman until Paul Atkins comes in. Here's Stuart Alderati. Thank you, acting chairman Uyeda, for saying it. The SEC's war on crypto created confusion about what is legal and an environment hostile to innovation and conducive to fraud. Looking forward to working with the crypto task force to undo the prior administration's damage. Folks, I'm already at 13 minutes and 59 seconds. I have so much more information. I'm going to put most of it in my next video, but first I'm going to go into the group and we're going to talk about what the guys are seeing in the XRP price, and then I've got so many other things. I'm going to just do them in the next video. Loaded down today, folks. I just didn't want to make this video too long. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that here we go. Let's talk about XRP price. And by the way, before I go, you know, there's a lot of chart people that look at these charts on XRP and digital assets, and they talk about this like it's your typical cycle and all this stuff. Well, in my opinion, all bets are off as far as that goes. I believe that this time there are so many positive shoes to drop specifically for XRP that and XRP has been in a cage for 4 years, and I believe that until I see certain shoes drop, it's going to be very difficult for me to even sell any of my small bags that I intend to sell. But there's certain things that, I mean, and let me make it clear, I plan on holding the core of my XRP forever. That's the plan, because I know what I hold. But I believe that this time we can't really look, oh well, the cycle typically, because of Bitcoin, the cycle typically goes to here. I believe we're in a different place this time, at least for XRP. I can't speak for all the others. This is a whole different ball game this time, folks. Wall Street is coming in. That's never happened. Regulations are coming in. This market has never had full regulation and approval to go forward. All bets are off. Okay, we're going to go into the group now.